President Cyril Ramaphosa expected to address the nation tonight at 8 o'clock on the country's response to the latest surge in COVID-19 cases and deaths. Government says it follows consultations with the National Coronavirus Command Council, provincial health MECs and interfaith leaders on the COVID-19 risk-adjusted strategy. The presidency says the engagements are focused on the unfolding pandemic, including efforts to secure vaccines for everyone. The Health Minister, Dr. Cyril Ramaphosa, has announced that South Africa will receive 1 million doses of the vaccine soon and another 500,000 in February. At the same time, there are big questions around the future of alcohol policy. The National Liquor Traders Forum has asked government to relax the ban on alcohol. At the same time, the ANC saying in its January 8th statement over the weekend that it intends to change laws around alcohol permanently. Lucky Ntimane is the convener of the National Liquor Traders Forum. He joins us now. Lucky, good afternoon to you. I'm not a fortune teller, but I wouldn't put any money on suggesting that you'll be able to open tomorrow. I imagine the president is going to say tonight that your businesses are going to stay tightly shut for a while.
Good afternoon, Stephen, and good afternoon to Newzroom Afrika viewers. Apologies, I'm in transit, so if my voice doesn't come out right, I'm at the airport. So look, we are confident that the president will be able to do the right thing and allow the sale of liquor to resume on the 16th of January in the interest, of preserving the issue of livelihood, but also the economy, Stephen. This is the issue that cannot be ignored anymore. I think we have to find a way in which lives and livelihoods can coexist, in this period that we're in. Otherwise, we're going to have a situation where 250,000 jobs that are linked to cyberspace are going to face perpetual poverty. We really cannot afford to have that pandemic, of our joblessness that, has taken all over the country. Certainly, travel cannot really contribute towards this. We are hopeful that the president is going to do the right thing and allow us to operate come the 16th of January.
Look, alcohol does create jobs. The industry creates jobs. There's no argument about that. But it also creates violence. It also creates murders. You only need to look at the crime stats on Friday and Saturday nights to see that. I mean, alcohol needs to be dealt with very, very carefully by government during this time, surely.
Yeah, not only does it have to be dealt with carefully by government, it also has to be dealt with carefully by the consumers in order to ensure that it's not a product that is seen as not contributing towards the health benefits of the country or even supporting government efforts in fighting against the pandemic. I think that you cannot punish the entire sector simply because there are a few rotten apples that we agree we have to deal with. We've got special programs that are currently running on the ground that are aimed at changing the behavioral system under which the issue of alcohol abuse is underpinned. But we are hopeful that government is aware of those programs and they will be able to give us an opportunity as an industry to restart our sector that has been closed for over 100 days. We feel it's unfair. We feel that we have to be given an opportunity to trade again.
What happens if government keeps you closed for, say, another 2 months? We don't know how long the second wave will actually last. I mean, how many jobs are we looking at?
We'd like to believe that the president is going to be fair. I think he understands that the issue of economy cannot be ignored. We feel that he knows that we are social partners. We have reached out to government. We have done a couple of programs together. We feel that this is about time when we come together in a collaborative effort, not only just to fight the COVID-19 pandemic, but also to be able to kickstart the economy. The alcohol industry contributes over 200 billion, in the country. Surely this cannot be ignored. And we hope that the government will be able to make a balancing act tonight when the president makes the speech tonight. And we are hopeful that the industry will be able to go back into trading on an off-premise basis as we have made the submission to the president to consider us, to trade, but in a responsible manner. And we have to emphasize, the good work that has been done by the healthcare professionals and the frontline workers, to stabilize the country. We are not making our request for us to open in a way that is insensitive, to those hard work that has been put by the healthcare workers. But we are saying that we need to find a way under which we're able to protect the economy, as well as we have done a good job of protecting the lives that the president has been leading the charge.
Right, Lucky, I mean, the ANC said in its January 8th statement over the weekend, it's a statement written by the National Executive Committee, presented by President Ramaphosa, in which the ANC says that the COVID-19 pandemic has sort of shown the impact that alcohol has on our society. It's clear there are going to be legislative changes to the law over the longer term. For example, in Russia, in 10 years, they were able to reduce the amount that people drank by increasing the price very slowly, 10% a year over time, makes quite a big difference. Would you support changes like that? Do you think they would have an impact?
The alcohol industry is a responsible industry, and any views or legislative proposals that are put on the table that involve us in terms of inviting inputs from the sector or the industry, we certainly welcome that, because it is our responsibility as well as liquor traders, as well as liquor manufacturers, to ensure that we've got an environment, a country that prides itself in alcohol being consumed in a responsible way. Any efforts get towards that narrative will be supported by the industry.
Lucky Ntimane, thanks very much indeed. I appreciate you speaking to us while you're at the airport this afternoon. Well, let's get more now on what we can expect from tonight. At 8 o'clock, the President will address you right here on Newzroom Afrika, Channel 405. Our political editor, Spoon Goward, joins us. Now, Spoo, I know you probably haven't slept in the last 5 days, but is it possible to know what to expect from the President tonight? You've got rising number of cases. We know what's happening at the Steve Biko Academic Hospital in Tshwane. It's not the only place where that's happening. We know that the number of deaths, sometimes 500 people a day, this is worse than we expected during the first wave.
I think given those indications, Stephen, it's plain to see that there's no way, as you speculated rightfully earlier, that we will see a relaxation of these restrictions. I mean, part of the problem is that you still have a Gauteng. You saw those pictures. We had the Premier go to Steve Biko Academic Hospital, but also we know that as had been anticipated, there's an influx of people coming from other provinces, and there has been a speculation. In fact, some experts even telling some of the Sunday newspapers that we should actually have targeted lockdowns, for instance, saying that a place like Gauteng should go to a level 4 lockdown as opposed to an all-encompassing lockdown as we had seen previously. But I think that also more importantly, as you were discussing with Lucky, remember that with the last announcement of our migration to level 3, that the President said that the alcohol ban was until the 15th of January. And you and I know, we've seen those pictures coming out of Baragwanath on New Year's Day, that for the first time in their history, they had no one in their trauma unit. And given also the fact that the ANC is now talking about introducing legislative changes in relation to alcohol, it kind of shows you that that seems to be that hard line coming from the ANC insofar as the control of alcohol is concerned. So I think it is safe to expect that we will probably see some higher restrictions or some additional restrictions in some areas. I don't think, though, that we can afford. Government has said this, and in my conversation, my interview with the President, he actually said the same, that the economy has been the hardest hit. We cannot afford a full lockdown, and the fact that SARS has under-collected by about 300 billion. So obviously, given the fact that the country is looking for more money for vaccines, and also there is also the social responsibility program of government, which is now coming to an end, there's a lot of pressure. So I do not believe that we will go into a hard lockdown as we saw initially, but rather we'll probably see some stricter restrictions to keep the spread.
I mean, in a way, when we had the first hard lockdown, there were the social relief, there was the 350 Rand grant. Despite all of that, we know that at least, I can't remember the figures, but there were terrible figures of how many people were going to bed at night hungry, how many parents were giving up food for their children. I don't know if this country would survive doing that again. I think people would be so angry without any social relief. There's no more money for social relief. And that's exactly where the problem lies.
Exactly, Stephen, because then you had 10 billion going into circulation from Treasury every month to assist those unemployed with those 250 rands. That is coming to an end. The President, when I asked him that very question, his response was, Frank, we've run out of money. We do not have money, but we still need to procure vaccines. And he actually literally said, I'm sorry, it's happened. So you now know that South Africans, if the poor South Africans are in a worse position than they were even during the other months of the lockdown. So it makes no sense whatsoever to actually go into another hard lockdown. In fact, when he was here earlier today, the national chairperson of the ANC actually expressed similar concern and even going as far as saying that further restrictions, he's worried about them and their impact on the economy.
We've managed so far to get through this conversation without mentioning the money that needs to be spent on vaccines and SAA. We'll try and put that to one side for a moment. There's a big issue around schools, because currently government schools, children due to go back on Wednesday, the 27th of January, teachers on the 25th. We know that SAT2 feels about going back to school. I think they, to be fair to them, I'm not quite sure. I mean, could we get a decision tonight on schools, or is there still enough time to maybe make a decision in a week's time? Might be the safer bet.
I think there will be an announcement on that, because if you listen to the DG of Basic Education, Matanzima Mwili, earlier today, where he said that they are still going to make a presentation to the National Coronavirus Command Council. I think he said tomorrow. where about what their research shows them in terms of the impact of COVID-19 on schools, and also the fact that I would anticipate also that he would not have wanted to preempt the president, as we heard also from the Gauteng Premier saying that we will wait for the president to speak before announcing any further move. So I think that on schools, probably there will be an announcement in that regard.
All right, and then very quickly, if we can, this leaked letter from the president in his capacity as ANC leader to the ANC's Integrity Commission, he seems very annoyed by how the CR17 funding issue has been handled.
Of course, he is, but I think he's partially to blame for that. And in his letter, he also does say that there has been a delay on his part due to his busy schedule. But just for the benefit of the viewers, that letter relates to a report that came out in December, where the president, the commission, Integrity Commission, wrote a report about how the president seems unwilling to appear to account about the funding of his 27 campaign, where they actually went as far as saying that he was actually using the legal processes to avoid accountability. So in his letter, he's actually challenging that narrative, saying that he had actually had an agreement with the chairperson of the commission that he would only appear once the legal processes had been concluded. In fact, even in the interview that I had with him, he did say that he has already appeared before the commission, and he had told the commission that as soon as some of those legal processes are concluded, he would appear. We know, Stephen, that the Constitutional Court still has to issue a judgment. Evidence was heard 2 weeks ago regarding the CR17 campaign. So there are still some outstanding issues, but I think the president is committed to come out clean about that funding. Now, let's see if he does that.